The modern world tends to rely on institutions, governments, corporations, nonprofits. And yet we still have problems: poverty, homelessness, racism. In this book, Fearfully and Wonderfully, we look at some of the problems that we all struggle with, but we look at them not as an organization, but more as an organism. What can we learn from how the body operates, the human body? In the United States, for example, we're constantly trying to figure out a balance between unity and diversity. We're a diverse society, but in what ways can we come together to serve the whole? Dr. Brand grew up and spent much of his life in India, which was defined in those days by the caste system. There were 5,000 different castes and subcastes, and at the very bottom were the untouchables. So the Brahmins were at the top, and everybody had to treat them with respect, and they got the good health care, and they got the education. The ones at the very bottom in those days were called the untouchables, and they weren't even allowed to touch a Brahmin. They weren't allowed to go into a Hindu temple to worship. Jesus kind of turns everything upside down. The body of Christ operates by different rules. In 1 Corinthians 12, Paul gives an extended treatment of the metaphor of the body of Christ, and he said, the parts that we give special prestige to, you can actually do without. So for example, eye cells. Well, there are many people who go through life blind. There are people who go through life without a sense of hearing. Leprosy, there are people who go through life without a sense of pain. And then Paul goes on to say, the parts that we treat with special modesty, the unpresentable parts, may be the most important of all. I've asked doctors kind of playfully, what do you think he's talking about? And inevitably they say, kidney cells, colon cells. You can do without a lot of body parts. You can't do without a kidney and colon. If they stop working, you've got a couple of days at most to live. Every cell must serve the needs of the whole. If one cell starts accumulating more and more, we call that cancer. It's reproducing, it's a very healthy cell, in a sense too healthy, but it's ignoring the needs of the body. Or for example, a spastic muscle. The muscle is fine, it's doing what muscles are supposed to do, but it's ignoring the needs of the body. It's being selfish. We look at the human body, we first examine the marvel of the human body, and then we learn how it works as a group of diverse cells that somehow serve the whole. We hold up the billionaires, the jet pilots, and the surgeons, and they're at the top of the pecking order, and the people at the bottom who just kind of clean up, we don't give a lot of attention, a lot of care to. Jesus turned that upside down. He said, I want you to treat the least of these, my brothers and sisters. If you treat them with care and love and concern and compassion, I'll accept it as if you're treating me. Those are the ones I came for.